the desire to be an entrepreneur, I'd like to share a bit about my journey as becoming an entrepreneur. I think ultimately, if you're a hairstylist out there, you're already an entrepreneur. Your chair is your restaurant. Your chair is where you make that magic happen. But I know that in today's world, with the influx of all the resources we have through YouTube and just videos and digital age, there's a lot of ideas that are out there that used to never come to fruition, but now can, simply because of the resources you have. I'm going to take you back just a bit about how I got started creating Sunlights Balayage. And really, I think it's kind of a fun story to hear, simply because it encourages you and inspires you to never give up. I like to think that I built a foundation on all the bricks that were thrown at me and all the no's that I had to hear. But for every door that closed, there was always that door that opened, and it really is true. So I was an educator for a long time, obviously, teaching French cutting and balayage, and my student continued to want to purchase some of the things that I was using. So in that moment, I started to put together what I called the Bali Bag, and basically it was my favorite this, my favorite that, my favorite lightener, or all those types of things all pulled into one bag. Well, I knew that this couldn't have any sustainability, and that I really had to think about what was next, because if I was going to scale my academy and grow my own business as a salon owner of a 50-chair salon, I had to make a decision as to what to do next. So really out of fear, and because some of the resources dried up for some of the products that I was using, I decided that I would go and I would sit down with some of the leading manufacturers and I would ask them to make me a balayage lightener. In the moment, I had no clue what I was doing. I just had a dream. I literally thought, wouldn't it be great if we could create a lightener that would work for balayage for all the hairdressers? Because I knew in my heart of all hearts that balayage wasn't just a trend. It wasn't going away. It was really something here to stay, and it was really changing the course of my own business. Well, in that moment, when I did go and sit down and try to get those folks to sort of support me in that journey, the timing just was not right. And I certainly don't blame them for saying no, because their no turned into a yes for my own self, and it really gave me the courage to get out there and do something on my own. So I thought to myself, what do hairdressers really need? And the answer to that question for me has always been great education. And so that's why I decided to create the Bali Box, which is ultimately a class in the box. And when I saw the business model changing of a salon owner having multiple chair locations and bringing in one educator to educate those 10 or 12 or 14 or 25 staff members that they had, moving on into the independent contractor who was leaving and going out on their own, I thought to myself, how can I make a product or an education work to the person who is by themselves? And hence the birth of the Bali Box. Hence the birth of my entrepreneurship. There was no class I took, there was no book I read. It was just pure gut instinct. So I say to you that if you are thinking about something that's in your gut and you know that it can make a difference for those who are out there, and it's a need that someone will want, then you need to go for it. You need to educate yourself as best you can, and you can do it. It's not easy to build a brand, I will say. It's not easy to fork out the kind of resource and money that it takes to actually do something. But it's truly one of the proudest things of my career is that I took a chance on me. I took a chance on gut instinct. I took a chance on my heart and knowing that hairdressers needed this. But I always knew I had a backup plan. And my backup plan was that if I created an incredible lightener, if I went to the market and it failed, that I knew at least I could use it in my own salon. So I was smart enough not to lay out monies to something that I knew I would have to eat down the road if it didn't work. So be calculated in your decisions. And always remember this if you decide to be an entrepreneur. Some of the best business decisions that I ever made were the ones I didn't. And what I mean by that is some of the times that I said no to certain things were some of my best decisions. So I say to you, my entrepreneur out there, just be you. Invest in you, take a risk on you, and hopefully it will pay tremendous dividends in the end.